everyone. Thank you for being here. Today we are talking about step number 8, which is flipping the feeling, and 3 scenarios where we can find the feeling, the want, the desire to make things happen, and that we do this all the time in our life anyway. The first scenario we're going to talk about is motivation. We seem to always want it and to never have it, and that it is the thing that is blocking us from the goals that we want to achieve, because motivation is the thing that inspires you to go for that run, to go for that promotion, to make the life that you want. But there are plenty of things that we do throughout our day without motivation, and the reason that we do it is because the other thing that we would have to deal with if we didn't find this motivation to do that thing seems infinitely worse. Now, what am I talking about? Have you ever cleaned your house because you had a guest coming over and you wanted to impress them, or you didn't want to hear what they would say if they showed up and your house was a mess? Most importantly, or more likely, your parents would be the ones to be very disappointed if the house was a mess, the dishes weren't put away, the carpet wasn't vacuumed. Your parents are much more likely to be like, "What are you doing? Why does it look like this in here?" And then you find yourself, whether you are tired or not, whether you've done everything else that you need to or not, you're cleaning that house so you don't have to hear your parents complaining about why the dishes aren't done, or your house isn't the way it should be, or that it usually is. Yes, my mother recently came to stay for the night because we were going to an event the next day, and I had that motivation myself. Now, I usually keep things fairly put together, but I upped it a little bit because she was showing up. And mind you, very few people are coming to my house. Most of the time I hang out with people at events, or we're going out for dinner or something, so there's not as many people showing up to my house. So if it's not the cleanest, highest standard all the time, it's fine because I'm okay with it. When my mom was coming and I was like, you know what? I really don't want to hear any comments on how my house looks or how it's not up to her standard or something. And I cleaned and it was spotless. As much as I was able to get it. Of course, she has an insanely different standard, but she didn't have that much to say because everything was put away. So you don't necessarily have the motivation to always clean your house, but when somebody else is coming, you find it. And that is what we have to generate for ourselves, is that motivation. We have to realize that us not serving our goals should give you the same feeling that you would have if your mom was complaining about how not clean your house was. You not getting up and working out should give you the same feeling as when your mom is telling you that you can do better. Because you can do better, and you have done better, and you are constantly proving to yourself that you can do better because you figure it out when push comes to shove. And this is a ability that we can tap into whenever we want, and it does not have to be reserved for when our parents show up into our lives and complain about how whatever it is. Let's take their power to do that away from them and give it back to ourselves. Give yourself the power over your own life to say, I actually don't like how I feel when I'm not working out, when I'm eating whatever I want, eating all this junk food, talking to people who don't respect me. I don't like that feeling, so I'm going to take my power back and I'm going to do whatever I need to do for myself to make sure I don't feel that ever again. Because how you feel matters so much more than the 5 seconds of commenting from your parents when they visit once in a while. Take the power back, and your motivation exists because there is something that is worse than you not doing that thing. It was worse for me to have to consider listening to my mom complain about how dirty my house is than just cleaning, than just doing the work. Why can't doing the work be less of a trouble than us thinking of ourselves in a negative way? So that is really how we can generate this motivation, is why can't we incorporate that for ourselves? I don't need my mom to be mad at me because my house is dirty. I need to implement these boundaries for myself and say, this doesn't work for you. You need to decide that. And whether your mom comes over or your friend, your house needs to be clean for you. And it usually is. And I knew it was getting time for me to have to clean the floors more and all of that. So I have to generate it for myself. But yes, even when you keep your house as clean as possible and you don't want to listen to your parents, you step it up. So step it up in your own life, because you don't want to be the person who lives in a house that you don't like, or a body that you don't like, or a life that you're constantly complaining about. Be your own motivation. And if you need to tap into what it feels like when your mom complains, tap into that and make that the same feeling you have when you don't work on the goals that you want. I'm looking at this. This is where I write all of my notes, and as usual, I will put it down below. Saying no is another big thing that a lot of us struggle with. We constantly are saying yes to our coworkers going out after work, or yes to family dinners, obligations that we may or may not want to do. Now, there are times in your life where you say no to things very easily because the thing that you're doing at that moment in time, or that you want to do, is more important to you. When your friend asks you to help them move from one house to the next, you suddenly have a lot of obligations that you have more precedence over. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't. I have to go and walk the dog? Yeah, we will come up with any reason to avoid things that we don't want to do. So why can't we template that onto all the things that are being asked of us that we don't want to do? Your friend asking you to talk for 3 hours about that guy who she just can't get over for the past 5 years, or however many years it's been, you can say no because it's your energy and it's your time, and you need to be judicial about who gets access to it. And you can say no because you've been there, you've done the work, you've shown up. And if this is a make or break conversation for this person, then that is a data point that you need to know and need to get access to. Because at the end of the day, we need to know where we actually stand with all these people. If you say no to hanging out because you're prioritizing how you feel that day and the things that you need to do, or you are choosing to pack for your trip instead of going to hang out with your friends, if your friends or the people you're hanging out with turn on you and they never want to speak to you again because you chose yourself in a healthy manner, then you need to know that these people aren't there for you. And when people act that way, now they need to regain access into your life. Now you need to reassess the situation and be like, I couldn't make this one thing and you didn't want to speak to me ever again? My God, what was going to be the tipping point? My compliance is the only reason why this friendship exists, then it needs to not exist. Because I have plenty of compliance-based relationships. I don't need another one. And I'm going to say no, and if you have a problem with it, you're right. You have the problem. You are the person who has to now deal with this. You can say no to plenty of things. You are ignoring scam calls. You're not drinking at work. You are saying no to certain behaviors in certain places all the time. You are not going to be better for saying yes to all of these things. And the more you say no, the more powerful yeses you can have. If you say no to staying out all night and drinking, you can say yes to feeling put together in the morning and being able to work out and work on the book that you want to write, or read a book that you are interested in, and then go to the mall and buy that dress for that event that you're going to next weekend because you saved up money for. One small decision really is a domino effect into all of these other things. And we all want to say no more. We all want to be able to do the things that we want to do and have more time for it. But the only way we can do that is if we start saying no more often to the people and the things that are just not working for us. That guy that you don't want to hang out with, you don't need to answer that text. People do not need to know what your next move is going to be. They simply need to know that certain behaviors are going to work and others are not. And you don't need to explicitly say it to them. You can choose to simply say no, step out of it, and if this person has a problem with it, well, great. You just eliminated somebody who doesn't actually want to be there for you. They are somebody who was just there benefiting from you having no issues constantly complying to the things that they want to do. Because if you say no and then you offer a different event where it's your decision and what you want to do, and they're like, no, like, I really wanted to go to that bar and I don't really want to go get lunch. Well, did they want to go to that bar because that guy that they liked was going to be there and you had to talk to his friend so that she could have the chance to talk to him, and that guy's not going to be at that lunch, so they don't really care about spending time with you? That's something that you need to know, and something that you need to get comfortable with seeing about people and then acting on it. Once we see how people are and what they're doing, you need to move on. Now, there's other things that you'll say no to that aren't as drastic, that shouldn't affect your relationship, but what about saying no to the bigger things? What if you say, no, I can't spend $1,500 to go to your wedding abroad. I have to save money at home, or I will celebrate the party that you have at the party you have here, but I can't spend it going abroad and spending $3,000 on this trip. I'm sorry. You need to know if that bride is going to be okay with it. If they're like, you know what? I actually never want to speak to you again. You need to know that, because you were going to spend all this money and all this time on somebody, and they didn't actually care if you were there or not, because if they cared that you were there, they would care that you're willing to show up for them in the capacity that you can. And if the capacity that you want to show up for somebody doesn't work for them, that's okay too. You have to get comfortable with people not liking who you are when you say no, because you're finally standing up in your own truth. Maybe you being compliant and saying yes all the time showed them a version of you that was more useful to them. And now that you have a character and you have a strong sense of self, they don't want that. They wanted somebody who's just going to do what they want. And you don't want those people around you, because they're going to drop you for the next person that's willing to just do what they want more than you were. And that's something that you need to know. Now, your good friends, your real people in your life that actually care about you, you saying no isn't going to mean much at all. And even if it is a wedding, or if it's a big event or a small event, that person is going to understand, because they care about you as a person, and they don't necessarily care about that day, that dinner, that event, even if it is a really big one. If you can work with them to figure out what you both can do, that's great. And if they don't want to hear it, if they don't want to talk to you anymore, that's something you need to know before you invest even more money and time. And if you just meet somebody recently, say no to them too. See what they're okay with and what they're not. Show them that you have a sense of self that is separate from other people, and that you will do things when it works for you and not because you have to do it for other people. Let people get to a point where they've shown up for you and they show that they respect you and they care about you, to get that access to you, that you will answer the call when they call. You will message them back because they have shown you that they deserve it. Don't give access constantly to people who haven't proven that they deserve it. And if you think that that person's going to walk away, that's something that you need to accept and realize that people who are there for you will be there for you no matter what the circumstances are, because that is what friendship and a true relationship is you love that person for who they are and not the surrounding extraneous circumstances, and you care for them for the circumstances they do have, regardless of what it means to anybody else. So the right people will stay, and you saying no will show to them, hey, she is actually working on her goals and trying to achieve, and isn't that what we all want to be surrounded by? Not everyone, like we talked about, those people who will leave your life because you said no, they don't want to be around strong people. They want to be around compliant people, and we don't need that. The third thing a lot of us are trying to do all the time is stay off our phones. I think you get I at least get a daily report or a weekly report from my phone that says how many hours I've been on it. And I use my phone a lot to watch content from various people that I follow and just to listen to music and stuff. So that report is obviously very high a lot of the time because I'm listening to things constantly. But if you are on your phone on Instagram or you're on Facebook or things like that, a lot of people are always trying to be like, no, social media is so toxic, like I don't want to be on it. And the thing is we are on our phones plenty of times, but there's also plenty of times that we're choosing not to be on our phones because the other thing just does not allow us to be on our phone. When you are driving, you should not be on your phone. You should not be texting. You shouldn't be on Instagram. And we know this because all of our attention needs to be towards driving, especially where I live now. There are so many drivers who I swear are not paying attention that you really have to be on top of it. And my brother works in the ER and he says that there's deadly accidents every time he's on shift and he goes into work many times in a week. So it is very important for us to devise our attention on the thing that we are doing. And in order for us to be productive in our lives, we have to give our attention to that thing that we are doing. And I try to use my phone for various podcasts and things like that. And I'm listening to it, but I'm not scrolling on my phone at the same time. I might be doing other things in my house, learning about things, cleaning things up, but I try not to be on my phone in the same way. And when I find myself on Instagram, it's just not interesting all the time. And the comparison trap, it's not useful to any of us. So when we are choosing to not be on our phone, it's usually because there's a scam coming in, right? I get so many scam calls in a day. I don't know who leaked my information to what company, but scam calls, we all are getting them and we aren't answering the call, right? When we see a scam call, it literally even says scam on on the calls nowadays and we don't answer. But how many times during the day are we answering scam calls? The person who stops you on the street and is trying to get you to buy into something, or that person is trying to get you to show up to some event that you literally don't want to be at. How many times are you saying yes to a scam? And a scam is a waste of your time and energy and money. And a lot of the times we are not only buying into these scams, but giving them so much more time. Now, by scam, I mean that friend who does not actually care about you, but is constantly asking a lot of you. That book series that you bought, that isn't great, but you feel like you have to continue it. That guy who doesn't want to commit and is always texting you, but you don't really see it going anywhere. What scams are you buying into all the time that you are answering? Who are you answering the call for? That those people who want to come visit you because you live in a pretty place and they've never been there and they want to stay there for free. These are all scams that we are constantly being served and asked to partake in. And usually, and pretty much all the time, the only person who benefits in the scam is the other person. It is never you. Somebody else is getting a much grander benefit than what you are getting out of it. That person who wants to visit you in this on the beach that you now live at only wants to do that because suddenly you live there. And they weren't really friends with you before, but now that you're so close to such a pretty city, they want to visit. Stop allowing these people to get access to you in ways that they do not deserve. And these are all scams that are constantly being portrayed to us. And now it might be a little icky to say like, oh, these people in our lives are scamming us, but they are. We live in a world that is constantly trying to sell us something, and our attention matters the most. And I am extremely aware of the idea that Our attention influences our life and creates our life. And therefore, we have to be allowing people into our lives and disallowing certain behaviors and people who don't want to really be there, who are asking far too much of us than we're getting in return, and to say, you know what, enough is enough. And at the end of the day, if there are some people that you cannot get rid of, it's the person that your sibling's married to, or marrying, and it's a cousin that is always going to be at the family gathering, you limit your access. You're going to continue to get scam calls, but it's up to you if you're going to answer them. And your cousin could bribe you or bait you into this conversation to fight about who the next big star is on The Voice. Or you could simply get yourself out of it and be like, you know what? I have to go get the pumpkin pie out of the fridge and serve everyone. I'll be right back. And then you never come back. You have to adjust how you behave towards people and get out of situations constantly. You need a backlog of stories that you can make up to get out of situations. Oh, somebody wants to hang out or somebody wants to see you and you don't really know them and it really isn't moving the needle for you. Don't answer. If somebody in person asks you to do something you don't want, come up with an excuse to get out of it. Have a backlog of excuses. Every time somebody asks me to do something that I don't want to, I'm like, you know what? This is great. I have to go see my parents this weekend because my mom is throwing a party. I can't. You don't have to tell somebody you can't make it. You don't have to tell them you don't like them. You don't have to tell them the reason why you're not going. You could also do that where you say, thank you for the invite. I'll catch you guys next time. You don't have to give them more than the necessary reason, than the simple fact that this isn't going to work for you. It is so much more about what you don't say and how you say it than what it is that you do say, because you don't need to tell people constantly how you feel or your emotions or why. They don't need access to that. You can take it back constantly. So stop buying into the scams of these people. And then when you start doing all these things, when you realize that you have the ability to motivate yourself because you figure it out when your parents are showing up to your house, and when you are trying to say no and you have a different priority and you don't want to be on your phone, you find the ability to do these things because there is a stronger thing that is making you make that decision. Because you are not going to answer a phone call when you're in a meeting with your boss. Whatever it is, it can wait the 15 minutes until the end of the meeting, right? When you are on a business call, when you are at work, you're not talking to your friend for 2 hours. So why not treat your life that way? We put work in this high esteem because we get a paycheck out of it and we get to live our life because of that paycheck. Why are we not treating our own life as valuable as that paycheck? Because we are handing in our time to get this money. So why are we handing our time to people who don't deserve access to it? Treat your life like it is as important as the fact that you only get one. 1 in 400 trillion, that's a chance of being born. And we're going to hand it away to these scammers who just want to use us for a free bed and breakfast, Why? We're going to hand these people all of these different ways to take control of our time and our energy and our money. And so we're upset at the end of the day because we didn't say no. And now we have to go and spend thousands of dollars that I don't have. No. Why? We work very hard for our money and we are very clear when we're at work that other people are not bothering us. If our friend is having a meltdown and she needs to talk about that guy who won't text her back, well, I'm in a meeting and I can't talk to you. Your life is the most important thing that you're doing. Your job is important. So the behaviors you have around work, have it around yourself in general. If you need to get up early so you can get to work on Monday morning, then don't stay out all night on Friday night because everybody else wants to drink until 3 a.m. Go home and do the things that you want to do. go out for a drink and then go home when you want to, so that you can get up on Saturday morning, so that you can clock in to the life that you're living, all the events that you are excited to go for. Nobody is going to do the work for you. I went to a Renaissance fair this past weekend, and I would never think that somebody else would have any reason to make those plans for me. I wouldn't expect anybody else to say, you know what, Emma, I think you really deserve to go to that Renaissance fair, and I bought you the ticket and the dress, and you should go because you're amazing and you deserve to live the life that you want. No, you would think it's insane for me to sit at my house and wait for somebody else to do that for me, because it is. And that is what we are hoping for when we say yes to all of these people who want more access and more time and more energy from us than they're willing to reciprocate or are giving us value for that time and energy. Your company pays you money for the time that you spend there. What are you being paid from all these people who you're constantly saying yes to, whose posts you're scrolling through, who are taking up all this energy to be motivated to do your goals? What are you getting out of it? Are you just spending your life on these people who could care less if you were there for them or not? Maybe. And if so, why do you keep doing it? Have you not spent enough money and time and energy on people who've never done it for you? There's plenty of people that you will meet who will do stuff for you, who will give you gifts and who will give you presents. But if it's not the people in your life, you are holding up space for people who could do things and be there for you. So you got to let go of these habits that are not working for you. Create your own motivation. Say no more often and stay off your phone, because the presence and your attention matter so much more, and where you spend it, it really does grow. So I will see you very soon for step number 9, but until then, I hope you have an amazing week.